Greetings, one and all, and welcome back to the Age of Sail Tournament and From the Depths. I am your host, Chromoid, and this is episode 9 of the Age of Sail Tournament. Today we're going to be watching the first of the quarterfinal matches. Now, I know that the challenge brackets say that this is actually supposed to be the last quarterfinal fight, but I already started going top to bottom. I ignored it the first time when the Barracuda fought twice, so, whatever, we're just going to do top to bottom, stick with it. But anyway, this is the Raging Barracuda by Varian 101 going up against the Precursor Pacific Proa by Morarch. And this is quite an anticipated battle, I think. These two have fought in Minty's Battleship Brawl Tournament, Season 2, and I can't remember who won and who lost, but there's some revenge to be gotten from one side and pride to be upheld by the other. So we're going to go ahead and get into this first quarterfinal match, starting in 3, 2, 1, go. And right away, the Precursors take off, and that's a wise decision because that Barracuda has a wicked broadside. There's some fire coming out from the Precursors. That's really cool. Ooh. Oh, ammo detonations on the first Precursor. That's not generally a good sign, but they have proved to be a lot sturdier than one would expect. And they seem to have given some good damage back to the Barracuda. Sorry about that. Mouse jiggle. No, Barracuda's pretty much okay. Just blew some top blocks off. Seems this Precursor's going in for the hug again. We saw this last time they fought against the derpy Tickle Square. One of them likes to charge straight into the enemy and hug them really tight, which seems to work out well for the other two. They can hammer their opponent. Look at this. I love the Barracuda is doing a good job of keeping fire on all of its opponents. He goes over there firing at this Precursor. This one's taking main damage, but sorry, collision is imminent. My computer is going to have a hissy fit about it. And come on, there it goes. All right. Whenever there's collision imminent from the depths, it doesn't matter how good your computer is. There's going to be some frame drops. In my case, it's a full time stop for about 5 seconds. But anyway, oh dear. This Precursor just lost its sail. Now, that's a really, really bad thing for it because that pretty much immobilizes it. Now, the game will probably forget that it's supposed to be despawned right now and keep it for a little bit, but that's not good. Still going in for the ram. Might actually be able to stick to the Barracuda. Yes, it has. It's managed to push that ram right into the side. Not going to do much damage because, of course, it just barely nudged it. And it's not very heavy to begin with, although, I don't know. Oh, it is going in. Look at that. Going straight into the side of the Barracuda. And hitting an ammo storage. Look at that. Lifting it straight out of the water. That was a brave move by that Precursor. It's almost certainly wrecked its front ram now, but it's put a hole straight through the bottom of the Barracuda and taken out an ammo deposit in the middle. That's a significant boost for the Precursor team. Barracuda doesn't seem to care too much. It's still firing away with wild abandon. This one's completely untouched over here. This Precursor has gotten away pretty much unscathed. And it looks like the Barracuda has just lost all sail. That sail should be despawning. I don't know how to deal with that. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know why it's still hanging in there. Barracuda is getting absolutely peppered. This suicide ram, this is pretty much what it is, from this Precursor is doing a lot for its team. Taking one for the team, buddy, that is really a brave move because it is shielding its teammates from most of the damage. There goes the sail. Most of the damage that would otherwise be hitting them coming out of that broadside from the Barracuda. And the Barracuda has most of its guns left, so it can definitely hit hard still. But suiciding into it like this, and we can see it's already down to 67%. The other two are at 98 and 100%. The Barracuda's at 88. This is a close match right now. They're just about even in hit points. If it can immobilize the Barracuda like this, prevent it from turning around and getting a broadside on the other two Precursors, then they stand a very good chance of winning this because the Barracuda is a single ship entry. It has to be able to deal with this threat that's hugging it and get back to the other two that can actually shoot it still. Because that Precursor, well, it's got a few guns left, but they're all in the wrong spots. And it has no sail, so if the Barracuda can knock it out really quickly. That's what this whole fight really hinges on right now. If it knocks that Precursor out, despawns it, that's a huge advantage for it in hit points, and also means it has one less vehicle to worry about. Also means it's free to fire on these two without having anything get in its way. All that said, the Precursor has lost steam, or sail in this case, and seems to be unable to do anything else other than just sit there, so it no longer is very effective. Although it's done plenty. That ram cut a huge hole inside of the Barracuda. Only 15 minutes in, and these two are already slugging it out. Hammer and tongs. Okay, let's see here. Trying to get a good look at that. Yeah. Getting some decent damage on that one. Down to 95%. But that's not a lot. Oh, it really needs to despawn one of these to kind of bring back the hit points. No, it's doing okay. It's about even right now. I'd say they're about tied in hit points. It's really a matter of how much damage these Precursors can do to that Barracuda, because it's got that one side right now that's using, and they're all on this side. If they can damage that side really heavily and neutralize its firepower, then they might be able to whittle it down from this end, as long as it doesn't turn around and give them the other side. As we've seen before, the Barracuda can take unbelievable amounts of damage and still keep firing. Look, it's still got most of its guns. It's taken a direct hit to the ammo. There's another set on the other side, so there's two, one on each side. I guarantee there's a couple more along the hull on the inside there. But it's got a good 50% of its guns remaining on this side, in spite of being absolutely hammered by the Precursors. Precursors don't look like it, but they can deal some serious damage, especially that one with the ram. If it had been able to do that a couple more times, this might be a very, very badly injured Barracuda. As it is, it seems like tis only a flesh wound. It certainly is full of rage now, though. It has been scratched. It has been bruised, and it is not going to take kindly to that. Still see explosives flickering on and off around the hull. This is an absolutely savage fight. This Precursor is firing back. It's still in this fight. Barracuda needs to deal with that. It's still at 69%. It needs to turn around and take this out. That will give it a solid lead over the Precursor fleet if this goes to a timeout. We're at 13 and a half minutes right now. So that may or may not happen depending on how fast events change. There goes half the sail on this Precursor. Good shot from the Barracuda. I managed to knock out the sail blocks down here. I like this style from this setup from forgot your name, Morark. Instead of having the corner piece, which is what makes the sails actually function, at the bottom, like traditional sails, he's got it at the top. I don't know if that's intentional or not, but it means basically that you can cut the sails from the bottom all the way to the top, shorten them up like this one has had here by knocking off blocks, but you won't completely disable it unless you can hit that top corner piece, which is much harder to do with these cannons than hitting a bottom corner piece, because the bottom ones are right next to the hull, which is what you're going to be shooting at anyway. But if they're on the top, the cannon has to specifically aim at the top of that mast to try to knock it off. Oh, collision imminent. Sorry. I was going to pan over to the Barracuda, honest I was. There we go. These inverted sails are really giving a lot of longevity, because we've seen it happen before where you have a mast left on a ship, but the bottom corner piece has been cut off, and so the entire sail is non-functional. From the depths, mechanics are a little weird, but if you can exploit them like this, it really helps. It seems the Barracuda has also employed this method. You can see the top-down sails have really kept it moving this time. It has not lost its sails like it did in its last battle, and now it's finally turning to hit this Precursor. Oh, but it's listing. Oh, the Barracuda has taken on some water, or maybe it's just turning. No, look at that, ladies and gentlemen. It is listing heavily, healing over. It's taking out the Precursor, but in the process, it's almost sinking itself, and now it's also turned its side around. Ooh, this could be dangerous. It's turning its side to face. It's not quite got it there. These Precursors are staying out of range. A very clever move. They're not getting on this side. This side's completely fresh. Oh! Oh my. I was just talking about the mast surviving, and that one has just gotten snapped off. Of course, if it's not careful, the Precursor could have the same thing done to it by the Barracuda. There's still plenty of guns on the other side. Let's get over here so we can see what's going on. In case you haven't noticed, my computer is behaving very admirably today. It's pretty smooth compared to what it normally is, so I'm very happy with this. That's actually scaring me. Let me look at something here. Nope, okay. Still recording. That makes me very happy. I've had this happen once before. I was recording, and it was really smooth. I was like, oh, this is nice. And I was like, wait a minute. And I checked the recording, and it hadn't actually started recording, so I had to scrap the whole thing. It wasn't this tournament, but it was another one. The Warbers, I believe. And another collision imminent. This Precursor is still alive, so good news for the Precursor fleet. They still have, they're competitive in the hit points. I know I keep talking about that, but that's really important in these fights because usually they tend to go the full length of time unless it's a really uneven match. Oh, another ram coming in. That nose is going straight through the side of. Yeah, look at that, tearing straight through. It's gonna hit the ammo barrel. Oh, just barely missed it. That's a very, very effective design. Oh, got snapped off. Oh well. Now that beak is hugging the ship. As long as they stay sandwiched together. Oh, and this one's gonna hit the nose. Look at this. Ramming is based, by the way, for those of you curious, ramming is based on the velocity of the vehicle doing the ramming. The velocity of the vehicle it is ramming, so if they're charging into each other, there's more damage done. And the weight, the respective weight of the two vehicles, kind of like traditional physics. So the heavier the ship is, even if it's moving slow, a little nudge can chunk a huge hole, especially if the armor is weak, like this wood right here. Oh, it's gonna get to back out and do it again. The Barracuda is just hammering away at this Precursor, is trying to get it off of it. But the Precursor is actually stronger, it's pushing the Barracuda to the side. This buddy over here needs to get itself in position. Oh no. Oh no. This Precursor has gotten in range of that healthy broadside on the backside of the Barracuda, on the port side. It needs to get out of there. It needs to go turn it around and help its buddy here because that one's completely combat ineffective. This one's about to be rendered combat ineffective. It keeps face tanking the shots from the Barracuda like this. This is a risky position for the Precursors. I'm not sure that they want to be in this right now. The ram was a good idea, but it needed to have its friend over here ready to pepper it, take advantage of the immobilization of the Barracuda. And instead what's actually done is it's pushed the Barracuda around to the point where it could fire on its friend over there. Let's take a look at this again. So zoom out so we can watch while I'm taking a look. 75 for the Barracuda. One of the Precursors at 65, one at 88, one at 92. This is probably the 92 over here, and this is the 88. They're surprisingly sturdy. I think part of that is because they look kind of flimsy, if I'm honest, but I think part of the reason they're lasting so long is because of this kind of skeletal frame. It's much harder to hit. A lot of holes in it, a lot of empty spaces. This Precursor is going deep. Slowly driving those rams into the front of the Barracuda, and because it's got these beaks, it's keeping this huge ram wall that the Barracuda has off of it. It's actually gotten underneath the Barracuda. If it still had rams here, it would be doing tons of damage, but fortunately it's not. The sail's still alive. I have no clue how the sail's still alive. It's driven itself between the guns, so it actually can't get shot. The ramming damage could still kill it, so it's got to be careful about that, or it'll lose its propulsion. It's actually in a pretty safe position right now. Barracuda is chunking away this part that has no guns on it. This area has a few cannons still left functioning, and they're all peppering away at this. Interesting. These guns are actually trying to fire down through their own ship to get at this part of the hull. Let's look over here. Oh, this Precursor is taking a beating. Not too much since the full broadside isn't really firing on it yet. Or it could be, I don't know. It's kind of a scatter shot effect right now. It needs to turn around. It needs to get these guns to bear. It's got a handful back here, I think. Oh, it's only got a couple left. It needs to turn around and get those guns to bear for its buddy over here. And here comes another set of shots from the Barracuda. Yeah, it's got the full broadside bearing on it. It's just firing away. Precursor is lasting a very long time. That one is at 84%. I gotta say, I'm impressed, Morark, by the durability of your ships. When I looked at them, I was like, those are cute. Those are gonna get destroyed. Those aren't gonna last. I'm looking at things like the Barracuda and the Pompadour, and look at these. I'm like, nah, I don't see that lasting. And these are giving the Barracuda work. Look at that, another ammo detonation. This is a thing that the Barracuda needs to watch out for. If it somehow manages to lose all of its ammunition, which is doubtful, it seems like it's got a lot in there, but if it loses all of its ammunition, it was no longer able to fire. And then it doesn't matter if the Precursor is doing small amounts of damage, it has free reign. It's a shame it's not got this bank over here to bear. They don't seem to be able to aim over here at the Barracuda. It really is a matter, like the Precursor uses some interesting gun placement, kind of like a 360 degree gun placement, but in doing so it also weakens its overall firepower on any one side, so you can almost never flank without getting hit, but at the same time, you get hit, it's almost a little laughable if you're a big ship like the Barracuda. And this Precursor has just found itself in the wrong position. It's getting absolutely destroyed right now. 79%. The Barracuda is happily chunking away at it bit by bit. Kinetic and HE just flying in. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's completely severed. Nope. Yeah, it's completely severed. That should fall off any minute now. That's a huge chunk of hit points getting ready to be lost by this Precursor. I might put it down to the red zone and despawn it soon. The only one really in any combat capable position is the one that's face hugging the Barracuda, and honestly doing quite a bit of damage. It's shoving it around. It's keeping its guns out of the really sensitive parts. These pods down here seem to be the place that really contain the ammo and the vulnerable stuff, and so far most of the guns that remain on this side of the Barracuda can't actually aim down low enough to hit it without hitting their own ship. You see that right there? Oh, is that another ammo detonation? Nope. It's a shame there are no rams pointing up on the top of that pontoon, or it might actually be able to saw the Barracuda right in half as it is. We're down to 4 minutes. A despawn right now will seal the win for the Barracuda. If it can despawn one of these Pacifics, one of these Precursors, it will almost certainly win. But as it is right now, it's 3 minutes and 45 seconds away from being timed out, and I'm not entirely sure that it has the hit point lead right now. It's taken a lot of damage. This ram right here has really, it's been good and bad for the Precursors. Good in that it, whoops, that's a sail that should be dead right now. Shouldn't be pushing the Barracuda around anymore. But good in the fact that it's kind of immobilized the Barracuda. It's really sawed into it. As you see, it's just cut through the middle here. Another good ram like that would actually probably end the Barracuda, if I'm honest. It's bad though in that it pushed the Barracuda around to where its good broadside can aim on the only really healthy Precursor left in the fleet, and it's just absolutely shredded it. So that's really been a bad deal for the Precursors. I'm thinking, I don't know, kind of a win-lose, 50-50 deal here. They really, this one's fairly safe because it's almost completely underneath the Barracuda. All its sensitive bits are anyway, and this side of the Barracuda has lost about 75% of its weaponry. So it can do damage, but not as much as it normally could. Unfortunately, the damage it can do will be almost 100% because nothing's going to miss at this range. It's going to fly straight into the Precursor. And of course, there's this one over here floundering around. It should be able to fire, actually, now I'm looking at it. Those guns should fire. Let's give me a second and see if they do. I think it has been, I just haven't seen it. 64%, 69%, 72%. Now this might actually go to the Raging Barracuda. It's lost in AI. It had started with 4, it's down to 2. Wouldn't that be something? An Age of Sail episode ending with an AI dead despawn. But we're under 2 minutes now. I don't see that happening. The Barracuda probably has them spread out along the length of the ship, and it just happened to lose the 2 in the middle because of this ram. That Precursor, oh my goodness. Precursor doing work. If it hits that ammo storage, it could be GG for this Barracuda. It just doesn't have enough push left in it. It's got no sails left. It's all the Barracuda's movement doing this now. Look at these. I like this. This little kind of stick design here, keeping the explosions to a minimum. Barracuda just has more guns to bear on its targets right now. It's got, again, it's a broadside ship with enemies on both sides. This is what it does best at. being able to fire 100% of its remaining weapons. Oh, this is close. Minute remaining, 61%, 66%, 64%, and 71%. This could come down to the wire if one of these gets despawned, particularly this one right here. Ooh, this is close. 15 seconds remaining. Let's see how this goes. Sorry, I'm acting like a ADHD kid right now, even though I'm not. I just got a lot of caffeine in me. This has been one of the most exciting episodes I've filmed so far, in my opinion anyway. It's coming right down to the wire. This is kind of what I envisioned when I set up this tournament. Ships slugging it out with each other. 25 seconds remaining. This Precursor's at 59%, 4% more, and it will despawn, and that will be the end of the Precursor fleet. It will certainly lose to the Barracuda, but I don't see that happening. 13 seconds remaining. 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, no, not despawning, and stop. Whew. Ladies and gentlemen, we are down to the wire here. The Raging Barracuda at 70%, the Precursors at 64, 64, and 57%. I will get right back with you in a second after I do the math on these, but I couldn't tell you. It's going to have to be a calculator that tells you guys who wins this, because right now I have no idea. Anyway, I'll be right back in a minute. Alright, the results are in, the points have been tallied, and ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to present to you the winner of this episode. Drumroll please. The Raging Barracuda by Varian 101. It has won with a 70% to 61% lead. The Precursors come down to 61% after all my calculations. That puts them at a 9% deficit to the Raging Barracuda, and all you need is 1% to win. So congratulations, Very Own 101. Your Raging Barracuda has triumphed in this match. It has come out, I wouldn't say just barely, but it was kind of just barely. The wind had blown a little different, so to speak. It might be at the bottom right now. These Precursors are savage. I mean, speculation is all well and good. It's kind of null at this point. But if that, especially if that Precursor over there hadn't ended up on the wrong side of your ship, you could have been in some serious trouble. But congratulations regardless, and my condolences, Morarch. Whether you were out for revenge or to protect your pride, I'm not sure which, but your ships are going down, and they will no longer rise to the challenge. And the Barracuda will go on to the semifinals. And I will now end this episode, and I've been Chromoid. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.